Good morning everyone and welcome back to day 12. We're starting again with 100 days of code. We're continuing on exactly where we left off yesterday, and we are trying to figure out why our chart and our bar chart isn't showing on our page. So I had a brainwave this morning. I'm not sure. Let's just follow the brainwave and see what's going on. So my brainwave was that we still haven't added any CSS, so could we just not be seeing it? So I just want to make sure that we do indeed have something there. Basically, that's the plan. Just move this up so you can definitely hear me, because yep. And let's go. So I'll get rid of my terminal here because I don't need it for the moment, and we're just going to inspect our page and see if those elements are there. So there's a big delay again. Let's see if this makes it any better. Right. Hello. Hello. Oh, that's a bit better. Hello. Okay. So, cool. So let's just check here now. So underneath our filters, we should have our chart. So it was in expenses, wasn't it? Yeah. So underneath our filters, we should be seeing a chart. So let's just close off everything else, so we don't be looking around at everything when there's no need. And we'll just check underneath our filters, and I'll also just get some data there. So here's our expenses list, and here's our chart. So we do have our chart. We've had our chart this whole time. That one's at 0, and then these, I'm guessing, are gonna, so they're all of 0. Okay. So I think the first thing to do is to find Max's CSS and just plug that in and see what happens. But it does also look like each of these is at %0, that they've all been filled to 0, and there's no label, so we're not getting any data back either. So let's just go and find Max's CSS so we can just pin that bit off anyway, because we are going to need it. So if I can find it, that would be great. So this is the course that I'm doing, the React Complete Guide, including hooks, React Router and Redux, 2nd edition 2021 updated. It's been down in the comments, in the description. If you want to check this video out, you do have to get a subscription to O'Reilly. So I will include free versions, of Max's courses as well. So now we'll go here to the linked code. So it tells us our supplemental content is here. So if we click on this and then come to the particular section we're at, we should be able to find the code. So the section we are at is, if we continue, yeah, I've moved ahead now actually from this one, I think, because that was on a different account. So we're just coming into chapter 6. We're on the wrap up. Excuse me. So chapter 6 is where we are, and the name of this chapter is Styling React Components. And so this styling, yes, this is where we should be. So let's just check this out. I think I already have this downloaded, but we'll just go from the fresh files because I couldn't find it before, so let's stick it on our desktop. And I have a new water bottle for my new job as well, so like I don't have to use that other water bottle, but this one is great. Yeah, quite enjoying that, guys. It's really good. I'll give you more updates on just, you know, working at different companies and things like that, and some of the things that you can expect and some things that are really phenomenal but that you can find out there, and that when you find some of these things that, in my opinion, you've hit the jackpot, because yeah, I'll have to go into more detail and just explain it in the best way, but yeah, it's gone really well, so quite enjoying that. So I'll give you some update on that. So we'll just go on here now, and we've downloaded our files. So desktop, and I will unpackage this, extract all. Okay. So that's extracting now, so I'm going to get a new window. And now we have this new window. We can open our folder, which is on our desktop. And there we go. So this actually contains everything. Oh no, it doesn't. I thought I should have just downloaded the project file. So it does contain some stuff. So this is for 6 styling, and it's gone right the way down to the finished component. So what is this, like course goal input though? We don't have this. So Max, don't know what your attached code is all about. And I found I did find the right information once and haven't been able to find it again. So like none of these are the folders we're looking for, so we'll just have a look and see what some of these are doing. Although none of the classes are going to add up, we're going to have to go and change classes and do a whole load of messing about anyway. So oh Max, I don't know about your code. You know, it has to be there, and I've seen it before, so can I just download this whole project? Yes. Download the zip. Let's just have a look, because, and then I also still need to have a look at some other bits with regards to this, because we're not getting any of those calculations back. It's not doing the calculations on our values, so I will have to revisit that. But for the time being, such a delay. Let's just start that again. So I'm just restarting my video thing. I mean, it's definitely probably the way that I'm putting it on the screen as well. I'm using a particular piece of software. Okay, so here I am back again. Let's check this here. Oh, my head is gone. So I just thought hopefully okay, that is so slow. Maybe it's just because we're running a few things. So I will also close some things. That I don't need. Okay, this is so slow today. Anyway, I did try and do the video and the coding separately and then compile them, but because it was an hour video, it was taking an hour to, or longer, like 2.5 hours to just stick those two videos together, and then it was taking like at least a half an hour to upload to YouTube. So my evenings were starting to get long, and then I'm doing this in the morning in order to be time efficient and not be putting too much pressure on myself. So I just have it done in the morning, and then if anything does come up, I can always do it in the evening then. So it just was not feasible by any means doing it separately. It just wasn't. It took all night, so I had to just do it this way, but then this delay isn't great, so apologies. But my other thought, like if I couldn't just do it like this, you just wouldn't get it done. I was barely getting it done, so as much as the other videos look better. An hour video and a day. Maybe I just need all new equipment, but look, that can come down the road as well. So I'm sure my 35 subscribers are happy enough at the moment, so we'll see. But obviously I want to be giving you the best experience as well and not making it slow. But we'll just see. We'll figure it all out as we go, guys. We're learning as we go. That's the beautiful thing. So where did that go now? Oh, my desktop. Yeah, of course, it replaced the old one. Why did it call it the exact same thing then? So yeah, I replaced the old. Okay. So let's open my code. Let's just search for chart and see if that's anywhere in here. Chart. This says 6 specifically, so anyway. I just feel like if I knew they were at least styled the way they were supposed to be, that's one up. So code, download the zip. Okay, so that has everything in that name, which was in the downloads. Yeah. Let's extract it. So we'll just open this with code now and we'll check completed files for, just search for chart. And if this doesn't come up now, I just don't understand. So okay, so let's just check this folder first, because it looks like there's another zipped file in this file. So in we go. Extract. Yeah, clearly have no idea what's going on there. Like, I just don't. Let's check the readme and see what that says. So helpful. Yes, okay, well, yeah. Enough of that. This is why I just gave up last time as well, because where is this code that I'm supposed to be using? I have no idea. So, you should, like, I literally have no idea. So, we're in here. Let's check this readme, which I think is just the same. Yeah, okay. You can search repositories as well. I just don't see it right now. Maximilian has his own. Packet publishing, that's where it should be though. So let's just sort this out, sorry. Pain in the patchouli. Yeah. Whole new set of equipment is needed. I've never been one to really want or care for expensive phones at all. I've never really paid much money for a phone. This one was €300, so €300 is still a decent chunk of money. When, you know, all you want to do is make phone calls on it, so, or at least what I definitely try and limit myself to doing is making phone calls. I am not down with this whole tech era, even though I'm in tech, but everyone just being so attached to their equipment. And look, and saying that if my equipment was to go, I would be lost as well, but the phones are just a no-go for me, because they are productivity suckers if you don't manage them correctly, and there's just everything on them, so I like to keep it as minimal as possible, which is why I don't buy a good one. But then I love taking photos. I'd only use it really if I'm out and about and see a nice flower, or I'm with my dad or something, so, and take a picture. So I just don't even know. The few apps that are on it, look, the memory isn't great, that's the bottom line of the phone, so I'm going to have to upgrade and bite the bullet and get a heavy one that can hold a lot more, which I thought 300 quid would be more than enough, but it's failing me every day. I've to sort it out, guys. So we're going to just continue on here and start debugging our chart and figure out why everything is height 0. So let's just get on with that now. So let's I don't need to keep watching the video, we just need to figure out so I certainly didn't put this in there. Get key is React warning true. Name warn about accessing key. So I just want to Google that because I don't know what that means. Warn about accessing key. Okay. And let's start with React. Most props are passed on to the component, yes. Although there are two special props, ref and key, which are used by React and thus are not forwarded. So every time we've been passing around data, we've been passing it in, maybe not every time, because I think, didn't it say that we could only pass it to the parent? Let's just check that as well. So props, React. Or just props. I'm just trying to find. A render prop is a function prop that component uses to know what to render. This technique makes the behavior extremely portable. That's how we can send around our data. You can also use children. So there's going to be a way to pass it from parent to child and from child to parent, but okay, so I'm actually going to save this article because this looks like a great read from a quick glance. So let's go. So I believe if you're reading this article, you already have an idea that the normal flow is to pass props from the parent to the child. So when you have one component containing another component, you can pass the props downwards from the parent to the child, but you need to do a little bit more work in order to pass it back up the chain, which makes perfect sense. So if you're sort of like scoping in a way, now that's how I'm going to remember that, like to have it solidified in my mind, because you sort of know these things, but until you get them hammered into your brain, then you're still wondering, oh, is it parent to child or is it child to parent? which it's very important, you know, but I'm just getting used to React. But that's sort of a functionality and a behavior of languages in general. I think Angular is the same. So, you know, you should be passing from, it's easy to pass from the parent to the child. There's things put in place to just go down the ladder because that's hierarchical. That makes sense. The parent has all of the content and then the child can access that content because it's within the parent. So that makes sense, a bit like scoping. So if you have a globally scoped variable or constant, so let or const, which is just a variable, you've defined something that you want to put some information into, so let my variable equal string Leanne, then if I create a function within that same page that's doing something, I can access that variable Leanne because it's declared in a global scope. So that makes perfect sense that we should be able to pass from parent down to child with ease, because it sort of reminds me of scoping. It's the natural flow of things. So now I know that that's solidified. So, but actually when you're going up the chain, you need to just think about it slightly differently than the normal flow that you're going to see in all these components we've been using so far, where we just pass it in as props, pass it in as props, pass it in as props, because that's parent to child. And now he's going to give examples of how we can pass props between components. So I'm not even going to worry about this right now because we're going to be doing things like this as we go. And that's the whole purpose of this course, is to learn everything, is to learn how to do all of this stuff. And then we'll come back when it's relevant and revisit this. But I just wanted to know that. So it's parent to child is the standard flow. That makes sense. Just needed to get that in there to be able to say that with definiteness to you guys. Definitiveness. So so there are two special props, ref and key, which are not forwarded. For example, if you want to access this props.key, i.e. the render function of prop types is not defined. Okay, so where are we? We're over here, and I was just wondering what that meant. Yeah. So okay, so it's an inbuilt warning because we still don't have a unique key, it looks like. Question, clearly I've got the key. So here's his key. So do we need a key and an ID is what I'm getting from this. We need to say key equals this and ID also equals that. While this may seem redundant, it's important to separate AppLogic from reconciling tips. So I think we should have a key and an ID being passed in instead of just the key. So, and then maybe that will go away. So let's try that, key and ID, expense.id, and now, are we looking any better? So let's just, okay, so we still have that warning. For our props, And yeah, we're using the same thing, so we don't need to add anything else to our array here. So okay, that didn't do anything, so I'm going to just take it out for the moment, and let's just check into why we don't see these bars. So that's our main prerogative here now, because it's easy to start going looking at other things. So we just bring this down and check out our okay, so I just want to see where the console logs are coming from. Oh, I can see there on the left. So chart bar and chart. So let's go back here. Did not put the light on again. Chart bar and chart. So I really have to remember to commit my code. It just slips out of the old brain, you know, after you're finished. I'd just be happy to have got everything done and whatever else. So, and then just want to get on with other things in my day as well. I just want to do other things. So the chart bar. So here's our props console log chart. Props passed in. Chart. So that would be a bit more helpful. And this should be showing us what we have on our chart bar. And for our map, we should be able to console log this, but I think I need the render here in order to do this rather than just the return, because we've tried this. What about if I just do the value, which I don't see where that would make any difference, but let's just check. Okay. Again, I'm going to start doing that for ages. So we have our props coming out here. So here are the props that come into the chart. Here are our values. So when we're doing our calculation, let's consult our data points are definitely 0 to 11 because we've seen them before, but let's just confirm that also because we should be doing a calculation. And in order to do that calculation we need the correct value, so it's no harm in checking just in case something has changed. So let's just make sure of that. And we'll just say chart here as well because we're going to start debugging, baby. Yeah. So now we have our 12 points, so we know we're getting the right values as our data points. Perfect. So now let's check out our total maximum, because that should also be a percentage now. Oh no, this should just be the maximum, the highest value out of these data points. So there's our total maximum. Yeah, we have our max, which is 11. And then we should be going over, so we know we have our data points. So here we are mapping over our data points again. which is correct. So up here we're mapping over our data points and we're pulling out the values. So this is just a list of our values. So we wouldn't pass this in here because we don't just need the value. We need the label and we need the ID. So down in our return method, we're passing in the whole object list, the whole list of data points, including all the other stuff. So for this particular one, we've just pulled out those values and we've made a new list of just the numbers. So here we actually have everything here, so I can show you rather than just, you know, going on about it. So if we come down to our console, props passed into chart, these are the props that we've passed into this component. And how we've passed these in is it's coming in when we've used the chart and passed something in to that chart then. So where we've used this is in our, here in our expenses chart. Here we can see we're using the chart and then we're telling it what we want those props to be. So our props, or our data points, are going to be the chart data points, which are these data points here. So we have all this information coming into our chart as the props. That's how we're passing this data down the chain. So we can see we have our expenses chart, and within it then we're using the chart. So this is from parent to child, as I was going on about earlier, because chart is contained within expenses chart, so it is a child of it. So then if we go through to our chart component, which I can just click here. So if we go through to our chart component, excuse me, I sneezed. I paused just in time, so that was good because nobody needs to see sneezes, especially not in the current climate. So we'll just move on swiftly. Yes, didn't even need to explain that, but anyway. So here we have our props being passed in. And then we're console logging out these props, what we've passed in, which is our full array from our expenses chart component. So we can see that here, that was successful. We have all the data that we need. And we've passed it in as data points, that's what we've called it, which is why we're accessing it here. So the props.data points, because that is the name of the array, what we've named this array. And this is how you just access things in JavaScript when you're trying to get to something. So see here the way we have data point and then dot value. So as we loop over each one of these, and we have an individual one, because if you're trying to get to the data points and then this particular entry, and you had the whole list of data points, what you would do is, let's say if you wanted to get the value of the second item, you would go const data points. So we have all the data points, and then we'd do, this is how you access a particular item in that. So data points 2, that should work. Oh, because it's an object now. Right. Mamma mia. Sorry. Just realised I can't really do that. But apologies. What is going on? My inner Mamma Mia came out. So props passed into chart data points. So let's just see. So it's an object with 12 arrays in it, of course it is. And then we have our various different arrays, which are all months of the year. So we know that what we're getting coming in here is all of our props. We have our props, and then we're looping over each of them. And this, in this particular instance, we're just pulling out the value. And then here from the values, we're getting that list, the array of values, the new list that's been gathered from a map, which is just the values 0 to 11. Excuse me, so 0 to 11, and then we have our max value, and then we're making our chart data So for each data point, we want to pass it into the chart bar. So that's okay. So now, in here, when we have each of our props, yes. So in here, when we have each of our props, we've set the bar fill height to 0%, but this should be overwrote when we come in further down. So now we have our props. So we have our props coming into this component as well. So yeah, so let's make sure that this calculation is working, because everything seems to be coming out as 0. So and then we'll have props max value, which that looks like that should work. To create a percentage, that's the percentage calculation. The value divided by the max multiplied by 100. So, and then we'll just get rid of this, so we're not confusing ourselves. And then chart bar console log is now commented out, so we're not seeing those changes yet. So yeah, of course. Okay, so it doesn't seem to be coming in here because we're not getting anything coming out. So that's why it's always 0, because it never came into this loop to begin with. So therefore all the bar heights are 0. I should have even just known that from looking at this, but sometimes a bit of digging and then it becomes apparent. Should have known the calculation wasn't working because it was always 0. So therefore this should be max value. We don't have just a dot max. That doesn't exist, but we do have the dot max value. So now if we change this, that should now allow all the values that we have that are over 0, aka 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, to go into this loop, to go into this if block, apologies, to go into this if block, which is just a check. It's checking if it's greater than 0, but it's going to do it for each of the values, for each of the props. Or is it like, do I also need... Okay, there we go. So what's after happening here is now it's properly, we weren't passing in the right value. So we don't have a max, just a max. We have a max value. So, and our max value is 11. So once our max value is greater than 0, which it is, then we're going to come in here and perform this calculation. So now if I console log out bar fill height, it should be percentages. It should be different values. Well, we've converted it to a percentage, but that's what we've said it is, because we've just tagged on this little percentage symbol as a string, but we've also done a calculation that's a percentage calculation here by dividing the value by the max value and then multiplying it by 100, which is just standardly how you get a percentage. And as I said, you really don't need to be good at maths in order to do this. I mean, I know this is a maths calculation here, but when it comes to the stage of you wanting to add a percentage into your project, you can look up this code and you can, you know, go, okay, so this is what I need to do. You don't need to just know how to do this stuff off the top of your head by any means. So don't think, oh crap, I never got percentages in school. It doesn't matter. So, oh yeah, console.log obviously. And then, oh yeah, so this is our console Console. What's wrong with that? Console.log. I don't know what's wrong with this because we haven't got a return here or something. So I'm going to just copy this one, seeing as we know this is working, and paste it down here and see if then that works, because we know that that console log above was fine, and if not, we can't put it in that particular piece of code for some reason, which is yet to be discovered by me. Okay, yeah, so now we have our console logs coming out, so I'm just going to console log out the bar fill height, just to show that these should all be different values now, that we've actually passed in the correct information, and we are performing that calculation there. Why are you not updating? So so we have our percentages, that's great. So this is what I was expecting to see when we looked at our props, not our props, when we looked somewhere else and we had all those values that were just saying 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. We should have seen a percentage in order for us to actually display something in our bar chart. So now let's check out our bar chart and still see why we don't have it on the screen, because now we do have percentages. So we fix this function, we're passing in the right value, so now we're getting out the right value. So further down the chain, when we say here style the height to the bar fill height, we have a height now. It's not just 0, it's an official number, aka these different percentages. So I'll just get rid of this I'll just get rid of this console log, and I'll start inspecting our page here to see what's going on. So let's see. So here's our chart. Here's our chart bar. Okay, so that one's 0. And we still have 0. So we still haven't passed it properly. Oh, that one's 100. Okay. And what if I do the background color yellow or something to just try and see? So this one here, we have a height of 100. I don't know why it's jumping over the place like that. 0, 0, 101%. Alright, another 1%. So something is still wrong, but let's just check. If we add a background color, will we see something? What about if we add a color to our chart bar? Background color, red. So still don't see anything there, so we're still having issues. So let's just see what is going on. So I'm just looking at the video for a moment because Max's chart looks great. This chart looks so good. I can't wait for you guys to see the chart. It looks really good. I mean, I don't see why this would make a difference, but he does have this contained in brackets, so let's just do that, because, but that shouldn't have really made a difference there. So we should have our expenses chart coming in here, and we just add it between the filter and the list. Okay, so let's just make sure. So in our expenses chart we should be passing in expenses. So if we go to our expenses chart, should be passing in expenses. Okay, yeah, so he said we should need to pass in the expenses prop, because that's what we're expecting. I'm going to just get rid of this as well as that for console login. Okay, so we don't have this logging. So I also think this can be put into brackets, and let's just do that. I think that's only syntax, so it shouldn't make any difference, but did that make a difference? So I don't think we had all these console logs before. So I think that may have done something actually. So let's just go back and take it out and see what the difference was. But maybe it made no difference, because I wasn't expecting that to make a difference. Okay, no, it didn't make a difference. So we have our data points, we have our total maximum, and we have our bars and our props. Props, total maximum, bars, props. So let's do it again. Props, total maximum, bars and props is what we're expecting to see. I don't expect to see any difference, but I just want to test it out because something is going wrong somewhere and I ain't sure what. So props, total, bar, props. So yeah, that shouldn't be any different. Okay guys, so this is going haywire on me here, so I'm going to just come back to this tomorrow. I need to just go and sort out my phone. So have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, give someone a smile, the usual rigmarole, and smile yourselves because we're all worth it and you deserve a big smile and give yourself a little hug. So yes, have a lovely time wherever you are, and thank you for tuning in. Please do like and subscribe if you enjoy my videos. We'll get straight to the bottom of this in the next video, and thank you.